What's going on, everybody? Looks like I'm live. Probably let a few people get in before I really start answering questions, but welcome to my newest Q&A. Got 7,000 subscribers a couple of days ago, maybe about a week ago, and been a while since I did one of these things. Been away from YouTube about a week and a half now. I've been sick with the flu. Been horrible. I was expecting to be on Christmas break and just fucking laying out videos left and right, finish up my Jeepers Creepers, start Friday the 13th, do all kinds of holiday horror movies and stuff. Didn't get to do any of it because I've barely been able to speak without coughing. I actually got my last little throat lozenge in my mouth right now, so towards the end of this video, I'm probably going to start coughing quite a bit, so bear with me. Get out of here. But, there it is. What's going on, everybody? As more people get in here, I'll go ahead and warn you, these things go very, very fast, so if I do not get to your question, feel free to send it in again. I also have Super Chat, so if you want to put in a Super Chat, I think it's like a minimum donation of like $1 or something like that, but it's a way to support the channel, and it actually pins your comment to the top, so no matter what, I'll see your comment for like 5 or 10 minutes after you put in a Super Chat, so if you definitely want your question answered, that's the best way to do it. If not, just send your question in a couple times. Hopefully I'll get to it. But once it starts flying, I'm just going to have to get to whatever ones I get to, guys. So I apologize if I do not get to your question. But go ahead and start throwing in some questions, guys. We got 30 of us right here. Hope everybody had a good Christmas. Hope everybody's looking forward to a good New Year's. Can't believe it's already the end of 2017. Oh, man. Acting silly ass, have you watched Creep and Creep 2 on Netflix? No, I've actually never heard of them until like 2 weeks ago, and everybody's raving about it, so I'm very curious. I don't know if it's a horror movie. I know it's kind of found footage, but I am curious about them. Spiderpool, hope to see more from you. You will. I've been in an MIA trying to heal. I've been on the tail end of this flu for like a week and a half. Oh, man. What's one horror movie franchise you weren't a fan of? The Saw franchise. I'm not a big fan of that. Sleazy Dog, Cody, what did you think of Bright? I actually liked it. I thought that it was, I mean, it's not like the greatest movie in the world. It definitely holds on to cop drama cliches a little bit too much. It's a little predictable, but I thought it was really cool. I thought Will Smith was good. I thought Joel Edgerton was good. I thought that all like the look of the movie was good. I enjoyed it. After Cult of Chucky, what's next? Hopefully something good. I have no idea. Don Mancini keeps joking around about it. He's like, oh, I might send him into space. I might do a musical, and it just tells you he doesn't really give a fuck. He's just doing whatever he wants, whether people like it or not. Which, you know, commend him for the balls, I guess, but I did not like Curse of Chucky, or Cult of Chucky. Let me see. Barman Fred, have you seen The Babadook? Yes, I like The Babadook. I need to watch it again, but I liked it quite a bit. I thought it was creepy. I thought that like some of the metaphors they were going for was good. It wasn't too heavy-handed. I like that one. Let me see. Dank Bloop. Hey, Cody, you remember me? Unfortunately, no. Not by the name. Sorry, buddy. AWM, what's your favorite horror trilogy? Trilogy? Not too many horror trilogies out there. Damn, that's a hard one. I can't think of that one off the top of my head because I can't think of any trilogies aside from Jeepers Creepers, and that's not a that's not a trilogy that I would put up there because I only love the first one. Spiderpool, do you like Get Out? I like Get Out. I think Get Out's a very good movie. I think that it's definitely in the top 20 of the year, but I also think it's the most overrated movie this year. People will not stop talking about it. Most anticipated horror films for 2018. Definitely the new Halloween for many reasons. I don't think it's going to end up being my favorite horror movie of the year, but just to see how it's going to turn out. The New Mutants movie, depending on how much it actually sticks to the horror that they're showing in the trailers. Insidious, it might be okay. I mean, I don't know. I haven't really researched too much on what horror movies are coming out next year. Daniel Hammond, have you heard about Nick Castle being casted to be Michael Myers again? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's it's cool for fan service. I don't know if it's really going to make the movie any better or not, but we'll find out. Samuel One World Reviews. What is one thing you feel most proud of in 2017? Well, I mean, if you're just talking strictly my YouTube channel, just the amount of growth that I've had this year, because when I did my 1-year anniversary video in the end of August, I had joked around that by the end of my second year, which would be this coming August 2018, it'd be funny if I got to 5,000 subscribers. And I even said it like it was a ridiculous goal, but just I was setting the bar really high, and I'm at 7,000 subscribers just a couple of months later. So I mean, it's just insane how much growth I've had. Joshua Garrison, what do you do when not watching movies? Work my ass off. I got 3 kids. One of them's an infant, so when I'm not working, I'm working. As far as like other hobbies, like I like to cook. I'm not really big into the outdoors too much. Not to say that I'm a hermit, but I'm just not really. It's a very beach kind of setting around here. I'm not really a beach guy. I do like going out once in a while and doing like walking like reservations or something like that. If you could find something cool like that, but mostly just a family guy, honestly. Spending time with the family, spending time with Holly. Favorite childhood video game? Gustavo asks. Metal Gear Solid, the first one. That's still my favorite game of all time, actually. Adam Rousing, thoughts on Godfather 1 and 2. Let me see. Wait, crap. I just lost where I was at. Alright, well, I lost my place for whoever was next. But thoughts on Godfather 1 and 2. Definitely like some of the best movies ever made. Just movies that I don't really have the desire to watch very much. I have all of them. I've seen them once. I don't really... They're very slow. They're very long. They're not movies that I pop in yearly. Like Goodfellas, I will watch yearly. Godfather, I don't really watch yearly. So, respect the hell out of it. Is it my favorite movie of all time? Not even close. Alright. AWM asks, do you think there should be another Nightmare on Elm Street reboot? Yes, absolutely. For numerous reasons. Sean, you're messaging me during my Q&A. How dare you? I would be fine if they wanted to do another one and still keep Jesus. They wanted to keep, Jackie Earl Haley. I think that he was actually pretty good in the remake for what they gave him. But if they are going to succeed, they need to kind of have a clean break and just do it all over again. Eventually, it's going to happen. I mean, Robert Englund has said numerous times he's not coming back for anything. So he's getting old now to the point where I believe him. Like, there's no reason for him to come back. He's done his string as Freddy. So eventually, we will get a remake, whether we want one or not. I just think they need to do it with the right intentions. They don't need to try to do what they did with the the 2009 remake, where they can't figure out if they want to be a copy of the old movie or if they want to go in these wild directions that make no sense whatsoever. So eventually it'll happen, and yes, I think it should happen. AWM, have you seen The Blob? No, I have not. Bar Manfred, what is your favorite horror subgenre? Probably slasher. It's not the best. I mean, the quality of movie in the slasher genre is often kind of the lower end of horror, but just for my own guilty pleasures, for the franchises that I grew up with, for the franchises that I hope come back in a good, big way, it's got to be slasher, if I'm being honest with myself. Jason Prouty, which is worse, Freddy's Dead, Jason Goes to Hell, or Texas Next Generation? Freddy's Dead all day long. Now, that question, anytime you ask that, it's just going to depend on what franchise or what horror icon you love the most. Jason fans are going to say Jason Goes to Hell. Leatherface fans are going to say Next Generation. I'm a Freddy fan. I think Freddy's Dead is the worst of all of the bad slasher movies. Daniel Hammond, have you seen 3 Billboards yet? Yes, it will be in my top 10 of the year. I didn't get a chance to review it. Very, very, very good movie. It should be nominated, if not win, for Best Screenplay. Frances McDormand's definitely going to get Best Actress, at least a nod. It's some of the best you're going to see from Sam Rockwell. And he's got an interesting arc, too, which some of the credit to the writing is that he's a despicable character that they actually give a cool arc to that actually kind of redeems him. So, very good movie. Glad that I got to see that one. Gustavo Bersarnes, sorry if I mispronounced your name. What is the video that you're most proud of? I got 2 of them. One of them is the one that I did with Lee, top 5 horror sequels, just because I put so much style into it as far as like the throwback VHS and having us both on TVs and everything. I put a lot of really cool stuff in that one, and it turned out perfectly. So I think that's the coolest video that I've ever done. Beyond that, my first episode of Pitch Wars is probably one of the ones I'm most proud of that I did with Durbin. It wasn't my most successful video, and unfortunately I probably won't do any more Pitch Wars because it takes so much time for not a whole lot of return, but The amount of time, the amount of work that went into both of our scripts, the amount of fun that we had recording it, the amount of fun that I had putting all the stylistic, like, comic book elements and making it a really fun video, and it's like a 90-minute video. I'm really proud of that one. For anybody that's just joining, yes, I am sick with the flu, so I apologize for how many times I'm coughing. And it looks like I got a super chat, but why is it not? There it is. Steven Slater, hey Cody, just subscribed. Boom. Thanks, man. That's awesome. If you have a question, let me know. I'll keep an eye out for your name. For anybody that's just joining, what super chat is, it's basically a way to just kind of donate and support the channel. I think it's like $1 donation minimum. You can put whatever you want in there. Not required by any means, but just since it goes so fast with the questions, if you want your question definitely answered, it actually pins it to the top of my screen so I can see it for like 5 minutes before it disappears. Where was I at now? Thomas, with a very long last name, I'm sorry. Have you seen The Room? For the first time, like 2 nights ago, I watched The Room, actually, because I was going to see The Disaster Artist. I wanted to see The Room. Me and Holly watched it the night before I went to go see it. It's every bit as bad as everybody says it is. I probably should have watched it with a few more people to enjoy it a little bit more. It's not really the so bad that it's good that some people have said it is. Like, I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but it was definitely bad on a level that we had fun and laughed at it at multiple moments. And it did make The Disaster Artist better having seen it because I get a lot of the inside jokes. But yeah, it's terrible. Let me see. Now my scroll thing is going nuts. Dylan Thomas, biggest disappointment coming from the Dark Universe death. That yet again, they're taking a horror franchise and being afraid to make horror movies. If if they had made The Mummy a true horror movie and dark and back to its roots, it would have succeeded. But instead they tried to make it like a MCU action movie, and everybody gave them the big fuck you for it because it was not a good movie. So that's my biggest disappointment. They're not learning. They're not learning continuously. You do I, Frankenstein, everybody hates it. You do Victor Frankenstein, most people didn't like it. You do Dracula Untold, most people don't like it. And then they do The Mummy, and it's just like, how many times are you going to keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again before you realize that these are horror characters and needs to be horror movies? That's my biggest disappointment. Other than that, I could give a shit because I don't want to see any more movies that are like The Mummy. Gamer Kid, what's your favorite horror movie ever? It's between The Thing and The Lost Boys. I often go back and forth between those two. Most people would probably expect me to say Nightmare on Elm Street, but it's actually not. Will Smith, what do you think? Smallville? Never watched it, never had any interest. I was not a Superman fan until Man of Steel, actually. Have you played Until Dawn? Yes, I have. I enjoyed it somewhat. It's a very kind of wonky game. It's not a game that I have any desire to play through multiple times, which is what the game is designed to be. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to get the full, like, experience of the game, but I enjoyed it. The Bearded Slasher, which version of it are you getting? Steelbook? I'm not getting any of them because they have a director's cut coming out a couple months later with all the extended footage, and right now they're just releasing the regular old bare bones theatrical cut. So fuck that double dip shit. I'm not buying it. I have it on a digital copy that I can watch until it comes out in March or whenever they have the director's cut. I'm saving my money for that one. I can't stand when they do that, when they tell you before they even put the movie out, hey, there's a better version coming a couple months later, and they expect you to still go out and buy it. I'm not that kind of collector. So I'm not going to buy it until that director's cut comes out. Thoughts on Predator remake? Heisenberg254 asks. It's not a remake, actually. It's a sequel. It's written by Shane Black, and it's going to be a sequel. I don't know if it's going to have any actual story ties to the other movies, but it's not a remake. And I'm excited for it, just because Shane Black's involved. I love Shane Black. As a writer, as a director, he was in the first Predator, so he knows what to do with it. I got full trust in him. Looks like I got another super chat. Let me see where it's at. Thank you guys so much, by the way. Adam Rousen asks, hey Cody, any advice on starting a review channel? Just start it. I mean, it sounds cliche. Nobody who starts a review channel is going to succeed right off the bat. Nobody who starts a review channel is going to know all the answers. Shit, I didn't know all the answers. Go back and watch my first 3 or 4 videos. I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. I have no personality. I don't really have the drive and the energy that I have right now. You just have to start it. My advice would be have something unique that you bring to it. Like if you're going to review movies, but have a unique style, have like a unique review or like a rating system, have a unique background. Like don't make like a Jeremy Johns copy, don't make like a Chris Stuckman copy because there's so many people on YouTube that review movies. You want to stand out. And I don't even know if I necessarily stand out so much, but I do know that there's elements of my reviews that nobody else does. So you want to have something that makes you unique because if you're vanilla, you're not going to succeed. No matter how talented you are, no matter how smart you are, how insightful you are, if you just kind of pumping out the same stuff that you can find on thousands of other channels, you're going to get lost in the mix. If you're talking about something besides reviewing movies, my advice would be to really research tags, really research like thumbnails for whatever kind of niche that you're going for, and just kind of learn from the people who are succeeding, but don't copy them. So that's my advice. And prepare to fail for like the first year. You're not going to get great views right away. My first couple of videos I spent hours on and got like 10 views. It sucks. You're not going to get a bunch of subscribers right away. It's a very slow build. Do not get discouraged. Do not get frustrated. Just stick with it. Eventually it will come if you are talented enough and people enjoy you enough. Thank you for the super chat so much, and that's a good question. Spiderpool. What do you think of the Halloween reboot making Halloween 2, 4, 5, Curse, H2O, and Resurrection non-canon? I love it, personally. I love the fact that they're making a direct sequel to the first one because to me that's the scariest Myers. And to me that's the only the only place that you can go story-wise that they haven't already beaten to death on this franchise. I mean, going all the way back and exploring what it would be like if Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael Myers weren't actually brother and sister and he was just this random evil force, which is honestly the way that I prefer to look at it in the first place. I'm kind of a casual Halloween fan. I know this is sacrilege, but I actually don't really like the whole Jamie Lee Curtis sister angle. I actually like it when Michael Myers is just motiveless. He's just a force of evil. So this is like a dream come true for me. Everybody else seems to hate it, but I love the idea. Daniel Hammond, the rebooting Texas Chainsaw Massacre again. Yeah, I know. That's the one horror franchise that just keeps getting rebooted and rebooted and rebooted and rebooted, and it doesn't seem like they should be able to squeeze so many different directions out of such a simple premise. But damn, sorry guys, we'll see what they got. GamerKid45, have you played Dead by Daylight? No, I'm not really a big multiplayer game guy, unfortunately. It looked interesting, but I get bored with those games very quick. Jason Prouty, how would you react to the news of Tarantino making the next Freddy movie? I would be morbidly curious because I've never heard Tarantino express any kind of interest in slashers or horror icons. Like when they're talking about him doing a Star Trek movie, it made sense because I know he's a fan of that stuff. I don't know how the movie's going to turn out, but I mean, Tarantino's awesome, but I don't know how Tarantino does with something that he's not like the creator of. So I would be morbidly curious. It wouldn't be my first pick. Joshua Garrison, what helps you the most, your fans, to progress your channel? I don't know if I quite understand the question. What helps to progress my channel, if that's what you're asking, is just consistency. I think I put out, I mean, except for when I have the flu and shit like that, when I can't put anything out, but I continuously put out stuff. I keep going over like horror franchises. I do ranking videos. I try to see as many of the new movies as I can. I interact with all of my subscribers for the most part. I've weaned down a lot since it's grown so much because it's impossible for me to reply to every single comment, but I actually interact with people, and people often like, oh my god, you actually replied. Like, there's a lot of people out there apparently that put their videos out, everybody floods them with comments, and they just ignore them and put another next video out. But the reason I do all this is to interact with all you guys. So I think that's what helps me progress, is I actually kind of have a relationship with my subscribers. Jeff Meyer, any insight on upcoming videos? Yeah, I'm going to be finishing, we do Jeepers Creepers 2 and 3. I'm going to be starting Friday the 13th sometime in January, the whole franchise, and then I'll rank it at the very end, as well as Never Hike Alone. That's going to be in that review series. I got my top 10 best, worst, most disappointing, and most anticipated of 2018 coming out soon. Insidious 4 is probably the next actual like major movie that I'll actually do a full-on review for. That's a pretty good little preview of what's to come. Other than that, it'd just be something that I just kind of think up on. And a lot of patron request reviews, I'm still like way behind on those. I wanted to get all those done this break, but like I said, this flu just totally screwed my plans. But I got like Demon Knight, I've got Red Heat, I've got Inception, I've got The Poseidon Adventure, I've got the original Stephen King's It, the 90s miniseries, I've got Black Christmas. Like, these are all movies that I've been requested by my patrons that I have to review that I just haven't had a chance to yet. So expect all of those hopefully by the end of February. I keep putting it off and putting it off, but it's just, I've had a rough ass time with my schedule lately. Have you watched the show Gravity Falls? It's the cartoon version of Stranger Things. No, I have not. Never even heard of it. Alright, I'm going to start scrolling with this finger so I don't have to keep pointing at the camera. Jason Williams says, Cody, welcome back. Thanks, man. Hopefully here to stay. I won't get any more sickness. This is the longest that I've ever been sick in years. I usually don't get sick. This one has kicked my ass. Heisenberg 254, plan on reviewing the Hannibal Lecter movies. Eventually, I'm sure. It's hard for me to say, like, there's so many franchises that I want to review. Like, I want to review everything, if I'm being honest. Yes, I want to review all the Hannibal Lecter movies. I want to review all the Die Hard movies. I want to review all the Hellraiser movies, all the Lethal Weapon movies, all the fucking MCU movies. I mean, if I could review everything, I could, but it's just a matter of time. Hannibal Lecter is a great franchise, for the most part. And especially the TV series, like that's a series that I definitely would want to do eventually because I'm a fan of those movies. Kevin Riley, why do you think DC movies aren't as successful as Marvel movies? Because they're not as good. Honestly, I'm a DC fan telling you that. You got Man of Steel, which I think is a misunderstood masterpiece, but then again, if you say misunderstood, it means a lot of people don't like it. You got BVS, which the theatrical version is a steaming pile of shit. The Ultimate Edition is what they should have put in theaters. Still would have been a mixed response, but it would have been a lot better. But it's still a very mixed movie. There's things in that is just egregious errors. Suicide Squad's garbage. I can't barely even watch that movie anymore. Wonder Woman was awesome. Justice League is borderline garbage. I mean, it's just a gigantic mess. It's just, they have people in charge that don't know what they're doing. They don't know comic books. They don't know the DC characters. They don't know how to do a universe. They're trying so hard to rush to the finish line with the DCEU that's why it's not as good. Like, Marvel had a plan. They put 3 or 4 or 5 standalone movies out, eventually built up to the Avengers, made sure the Avengers was awesome, and then they've built from there, and they've had phases, and it's a very tight, well-oiled machine. I don't love all the MCU movies. I like all of them. There's none of them that I dislike, but quality-wise, they're very consistent. DCU is just fucking chaos, and they announce a movie every single day. We got this movie coming out, this movie coming out, this movie coming out, and yet there's like 15 movies they've already announced that haven't even gotten off the ground yet. It's just directionless. So, many reasons, but overall, they're just not as good. Good looking honky. Thoughts on Debbie Does Dallas? Never heard of it. Sounds like a porno. Mr. M. the Noob, what do you think of The Evil Within? I didn't love the first one, but the second one was pretty good. It was better than the first one. I think it petered out at the end story-wise, but the story was kind of my issue with the first one. It's kind of, it's an itch. If you're a fan of Resident Evil 4, it will scratch that itch that you have for Resident Evil 4. But it's a pretty good horror series. It's not great. They still haven't really nailed it yet, but it's good. Jeff Meyer, where do you find the music for your opening titles? Royalty-free music. You just search it, and there's millions of songs out there. Global Fruit, can you do a channel review? I don't know if I'm quite qualified to do that, but possibly in the future I might do some stuff like that. Maybe for my patrons or something I can do like channel reviews. I can't do it for everybody, obviously, but what the hell? All right. The Bearded Slasher, hashtag fuck Chad Kroger. Absolutely. Spoiler alert, my number one worst movie of 2017 is Chad Kroger. Just because. Michael R., favorite current TV show. Also, what's your favorite TV show of all time? Thanks a lot, I'm a big fan. Thank you. Favorite TV show of all time, that's the easiest question you could ever ask me in the world. Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is my shit. Like, Breaking Bad is part of life to me. I have watched that series numerous fucking times, like at least 4 times, possibly even 5. And it gets better every single time. I don't see any TV show ever coming close to dethroning that to me. I don't think there's a single wasted moment in that entire 6-season run. Some people say 5 seasons, 6 seasons, whatever. The entire run of Breaking Bad, I mean, it's the most masterfully created TV show I've ever seen in my life. Favorite current TV show? Probably Shameless. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV right now. I gave up on The Walking Dead. I might catch up on it eventually, but I don't give a fuck about it anymore. Mr. Robot kind of lost my interest. I will get back into that, but the second season kind of dragged. And the ending was just like more questions. It didn't answer anything. Supernatural is one of my favorite shows that's still currently running, but I have not been actively watching it since like season 9. When I got together with Holly, a lot of shows that I was already like 8 or 9 seasons into, or 3 or 4 seasons into, I had to kind of catch her up. And Supernatural was the hardest one because there's so many of them. I mean, it's like hundreds of episodes. And I got her caught up to like, like season 6.5, something like that. And then she kind of lost interest and wanted to watch other things. So I haven't been able to watch Supernatural yet, but probably Shameless. Shameless is pretty awesome. AWM, don't you hate it when in a horror movie they try and make the antagonist seem like an anti-villain or anti-hero, I guess is what you're saying. Yeah, like the Texas Chainsaw 3D, yes, I hate that. If it's not a character that's meant to be an anti-hero, like the Punisher, don't make him an anti-hero. Don't ever tell me that Freddy Krueger is sympathetic or misunderstood. Don't ever tell me that Jason's sympathetic or misunderstood, because it just ruins the character. I don't want to sympathize with these fuckers. They're killers. They're supposed to be killers. That's one of the issues, which he didn't really he beat you over the head with it, but one of the issues with Rob Zombie's Halloween is it tries to like humanize and give explanation for why Michael Myers does what he does. Like, you're supposed to sympathize with him to a degree. Like, he doesn't really make him sympathetic in the movie, but anyway, I don't like that. I hate when they do that. So yes, that guy Ted making a review soon. Advice? Not really. I mean, just say all your points clearly. Make sure you back up all of your points. Give reasons for why you have those points. Make sure that the editing's tight. Make sure that your sound and your picture is good, and let it fly. Dylan Thomas, what remake were you looking forward to the most in the Dark Universe if done correctly? Probably Dracula. It's because we haven't had a really good vampire movie in years. I mean, aside from Stakeland, which is a very, very quiet release, and Stakeland 2, like, Twilight came along and just kind of fucked everything up. When's the last time we've had like a genuinely great Dracula movie? Like a scary, dark Dracula movie. So, I'm a vampire fanatic. I mean, Lost Boys. I love it. B-Wise watched Alien Covenant the other day, enjoyed it enough. Yeah, there's things about it I like, things about it I hate. I haven't had the desire to rewatch it since I bought it, but I haven't had the desire to rewatch it since the theaters. Spider-Pool, do you like The Conjuring? I do. I actually enjoyed it more at home. The theater actually thought it was kind of overrated, but you watch it at home, and for whatever reason, it was a little scarier to me. I don't really necessarily like that it's kind of spawning this entire sub-universe thing, although Annabelle Creation was great. But like we got The Nun. We're probably going to get another Annabelle movie. We'll probably get another Nun movie. The Conjuring 3, whenever that comes out, will probably have a character in it that they'll want to do another one. They might do the Crooked Man movie. It just a little bit beating the dead horse a little bit. Like, it was good. I don't think it necessarily merits an entire franchise. Stefan P., what's your favorite movie trilogy? Probably the Back to the Future movies, as far as like a trilogy. I love those movies. I actually did top 5 movie trilogies. I don't remember if Back to the Future was my number 1. I'm pretty sure it was, but yeah, I would say Back to the Future. Dylan Thomas, Tarantino horror movie, too much dialogue. Yeah. Don't need an hour monologue in a Freddy movie. Dank Bloop, I asked for Leatherface 2017 for my grandma and she got me Texas Chainsaw 3. That's your fault for not specifying, because both the movies are titled Leatherface. Grandmas fuck up. If you give them the opportunity to fuck up, they will fuck up with all the good intentions of the world. My grandma used to do stuff like that all the time. I had to give her specifics. I had to write it down, like, the game is titled this, The cover will be like this. It'll be this color. You will have this character on the front. You're going to find it in this aisle, probably on this end cap. That's the one I want. Otherwise, if I didn't give her A, B, C, D, all the way to F details, she would come home with the wrong game or something. And I'd have to love her for it, and then I'd be pissed at the same time. Michael R., have you ever watched the show Prison Break? Also, what did you think of season 3 of Breaking Bad? Because I'm currently on that, and it's tough to get through. I mean, I don't know what you mean by tough to get through. If it slows down, I guess maybe for you, but I don't know. There was never a single episode of Breaking Bad that was tough to get through for me. But season 3 is great in my opinion, especially when you get towards the end. It really ratchets it up. Season 4 is actually the best season of the entire series, which, I mean, I'm splitting hairs with how I think they're all phenomenal. But if you're having trouble getting through season 3 for whatever reason, it's worth it because season 4 is the best. Have I seen Prison Break? Yes. I actually own all the seasons on Blu-ray. I loved season 1 when it first came out, although it pissed me off that they had like a mid-season finale with the dick tease at the time. Season 2 is probably a little bit better as far as an overall season. Season 3 I didn't like at all. Season 4 I didn't even get through because it was so redundant by that end, and I didn't even bother with the little revival that they did. So Prison Break petered out pretty quick. Blunt Man, if you could pitch a horror movie to be rebooted as a TV series, what would it be? I'm not really a fan of making movies TV series. Sometimes I'm proved wrong by like Hannibal, but for the most part I'm proved right. I don't know. Never watched the Scream series. Honestly, I can't think of one that I would actually want to see in a TV series. I think horror movies are good as horror movies. Dylan Thomas, watch Stake Land at your recommendation. Great movie. Glad you watched it. 2 is really good too. I think 2 is almost as good as 1. Scoop House. Sup, Cody? What did you think of Jaws? Jaws is a classic. Come on, man. Bonafide classic. Dog versus Chainsaw. Cody, review the 1980s things 1. I'm not sure what you're asking, buddy. Kevin Riley, have you ever watched any Hitchcock movies? If so, what was your favorite? I've only seen Psycho and The Birds. They're a little bit hard for me. They're a little bit too old for me to get into. I appreciate them, especially Psycho, but I don't know, like, I know Vertigo and is North by Northwest. I don't know if that one's one or not. Rear Window. It's hard for me to go past like the 70s and watch movies. But by default, I'd probably say Psycho's my favorite. Dog vs. Chainsaw review American Werewolf of London. Eventually. I like that movie. I don't love it as much as everybody else, but I enjoy it. AWM, I'm starting my own movie ranking and reviews and all that shit channel. Sean, you and Almost Sideways inspired me to do it. Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad to hear it. Good luck to you. Will Smith, do you still like Deadpool? I adore this movie still, and Logan, best superhero movies in the last 10 years or more. I would have to think, I don't know. See, Logan is still too new for me to say it's the best of the past 10 years. It's definitely up there. But yes, I still love Deadpool. That's still, like, I have no regrets. No regrets saying that was my favorite movie last year. Austin Santos, hope you get better soon. Cody, thank you. Me too. Sick of being sick. What do you think so far of the Conjuring cinematic universe? I mean, I was touching on it a little bit. I like The Conjuring. Conjuring 2 was pretty decent, but it wasn't as good as 1. It was very long, and I didn't like The Crooked Man. Annabelle had some good moments. I don't think it's as bad as everybody says it was, but it definitely wasn't good. Annabelle Creation was great. The Nun, we'll see. I'm not excited about it, but I'm not, like, dreading it. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent little horror universe. Dog vs. Chainsaw. Cody, have you seen the Twilight Zone 1950s? If you're talking about like the TV show or the movie, I've never seen the movie. I don't know if that's in the 1950s or not. That might be in the 80s. But the TV show I actually watch on Netflix quite a bit. Like if I'm just bored, sometimes I'll just throw on an old Twilight Zone. Some of those things are brilliant, and you can see where a lot of movies throughout like the past 40, 50 years have taken influence from that. So yeah, Twilight Zone's awesome. Flawless Fatality, have you seen Bright yet? Yeah, I talked about it whenever I first came on live. I enjoyed the movie. If I was to rate it, I mean, I'd 3.5 out of 5, something like that. I mean, it was good. Movie Freak, do you like Olympus Has Fallen and Olympus Has Fallen? If you like them, are you looking forward to Angel Has Fallen next year? I loved Olympus Has Fallen. I thought that was like a kind of a Die Hard throwback. I thought Gerard Butler was awesome in it. Not like the greatest movie in the world, but just felt like a throwback, schlocky 90s brutal action movie. I thought it was awesome. Did not like London Has Fallen at all. I thought it was trash. I think it made my 10 worst of last year. So, because of that, am I looking forward to Angel Has Fallen? No. Because if it's not Antoine Fuqua, the guy that did Olympus, I really don't have any faith in it. Dylan Thomas, what cartoons are you forced to watch for your kids? None. Tell them to go in their room and watch that shit. I ain't no slave to my own children. Actually, I mean, I don't really watch cartoons. I might once in a while I'll watch like an animated movie with them. As far as like the show cartoons, I can't stand today's cartoons. But my kids actually like to watch a lot of the movies that I watch, so they're pretty easy to please with whatever I'm already currently watching. Let me see. Oscar Moran, what would you like to see most from Disney's Star Wars universe? It's hard to say. What would I like to see most? I don't know. The Last Jedi's got me in such a state of confusion. I don't know what to expect from Star Wars anymore because I love The Force Awakens, but The Last Jedi just, even though I still liked it enough to give it a recommendation, it did so much that I did not want it to do that I just don't know where they're going with it now. What do I want to see the most? Just good movies. Movies that I enjoy. Movies that when my grandchildren are here, I'll be able to say, these are classics. Watch these. You know, obviously I'll recommend the original trilogy if they can stand watching movies from that era in, 2030 or whenever the hell I have grandkids. But I just want them to be good. I want them to be good. Michael R., favorite Back to the Future movie? The first one. Easily the first one. Sean Chandler talks about, what do you like best about being my friend? Who the hell said I was friends with you? I use you for subs. I'm just kidding. What do you like best about being my friend? Just the private conversations that we have are very entertaining. Kind of, let me see. What can I say and what can I not say? Analyzing the world around us. Me and Sean have a very interesting, smart-ass worldview that we share, and we can see hilarity in a lot of things in life that some other people don't quite see. So that's what I like the most about being friends with Sean. What do you think of me? I think that you're a douche until I have more subs than you again. Inside joke, everybody. Totally kidding. Dog vs. Chainsaw 89. Do you like Hellboy? I need to watch them again. I don't remember loving it when it came out, but I do like movies like that more now. So I'm very intrigued to see the new one with David Harbour. It looks like it's going to be a little darker. But the Guillermo ones I was never really huge fans of. I didn't hate them. I just don't really remember much about them. Sean Chandler, can you sub to my channel? You don't need any more subs, mofo. You don't need 8,001 or however many you have. I'm already subbed to your damn channel, Sean. I just watched your video earlier. Dylan Thomas, have you seen Ash vs. Evil Dead yet? Yeah, I've seen the first season, loved it. I haven't seen any of the second season yet. That lozenge did not last for shit. Mario Lopez, missed you, Cody. I'm glad you're back, man. If Gal Gadot had not been chosen as Wonder Woman, what actress do you think would have played her just as good? Well, thank you for missing me. I missed me too. Maybe lubricating the pipes will help. If Gal Gadot didn't become Wonder Woman, who should become Wonder Woman? It's hard to say because you could get. I mean, it's hard to say who would be awesome because you're only looking at somebody who's like, would they look good in the costume? I mean, there's a ton of actors. I really don't know. Whoa. Try to think of an answer. Who's not already in the MCU? I cannot think of one. I'm totally blanking on that. Sorry. Jason Williams, have you ever seen Pinocchio's Revenge or Revolver? No, I have not. Dylan Thomas, how do you feel about Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein? I love it. It's a classic. I have it on Blu-ray, actually. Grew up with it. I think it's one of those classic black and white kind of mishmash comedies that's just timeless. I love it. Dog versus Chainsaw. Cody, you are a god on YouTube. Yeah. Awesome. YouTube god. I like that. Will Sorrell, what is your favorite movie in the Dark Knight trilogy? You got me to watch many movies and keep it up. You do great work. Thank you. Well, hopefully movies that you actually enjoyed. That's one of the best parts of doing what I do is when people say, hey, I watched this awesome movie just because you said it was awesome, and it was awesome. Favorite movie in the Dark Knight trilogy? Probably Batman Begins. Everybody always... Damn. Sorry, guys. Everybody always says The Dark Knight. And The Dark Knight's great, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of been beaten to death talking about The Dark Knight. There's definitely things in The Dark Knight like Heath Ledger that is phenomenal, but it's a movie that when I rewatch it now, I find myself kind of wanting the Joker scenes and kind of wanting to get to the Joker scenes. I think that Christian Bale's not quite as captivating as Bruce Wayne in that one as he is in Batman Begins. I just love how Batman Begins is very Batman focused because I love the character of Batman. I mean, you love the Joker, but I love how Batman Begins is structured. I love how it's kind of non-linear. I love how it tells his origin. It's one of the best, if not the best, origin story in superhero movies. I love the villain. I love how they use villains that are very non-conventional villains. So yeah, Batman Begins, as of right now, is my favorite. Dog versus Chainsaw, are you going to have interest in Venom 2018? Yes, as of now, unless it starts to look shitty. I love Tom Hardy. I love the character of Venom. It just seems weird that they're doing this side universe with all of the Spider-Man villains when they don't have any intentions of using the Spider-Man. But we'll see. Serge M, do you ever review the game Until Dawn? If not, would you ever review it? Love that game. Well, I've talked about it a little bit. Would I ever review it? No, it doesn't make any sense to review it now. Nobody would watch it. I liked it. It was a little bit wonky to play, so I didn't enjoy it enough that I wanted to go back and actually play it multiple times and see the multiple storylines and get all the trophies, which is what the game is kind of designed to be. So I'm not going to get the full experience of it, but I did like it. Dylan Watkins, do you like It 2017? Yes, very much. Matthew V. Haynes, Cody motherfreaking Leach. Come on, man, go the full mile. It's motherfucking Leach. Congrats, my brother. Thank you so much. Stefan P. Cody, have you seen the Terminator films? If so, which one is your favorite? Which one do you not like? Yes, I've seen all of them. I don't think any of them are bad to the point where they're unwatchable. There's definitely bad movies in the franchise, but they're like watchably bad. The T2 is easily my favorite. I mean, T2 is probably the greatest action movie ever made. One of the best sequels ever made. I love the original Terminator. I love the hell out of that movie. I think that that's one of the best slasher movies that people do not consider slasher movies. If you're from Killer Flicks, we actually had this discussion last night. Terminator 3 is decent. It's got some good stuff in it, but not nearly as good as the first two. I actually like Terminator Salvation more. I'm one of the few people that actually like the direction they went with that. Some of the unique spins on it, but again, not a perfect movie. And Terminator Genesis is fun bad. It's terrible, but it's enjoyably bad. Sleazy Dog, Cody, are you looking forward to A Quiet Place, the movie? It sounds familiar. Is that the one with, like I'm even going to see your reply by the time that this conversation's even still in motion? I think that's the one with the guy from The Office where they can't say anything in the trailer or whatever. It looks intriguing if that's the one you're talking about. I don't know a whole lot about it, but yeah, it looks intriguing. Kramer Welker, have you picked up the Arrow Video Donnie Darko collection yet? Easily one of the coolest sets. No, I never even heard of it. I like Donnie Darko, but I already have the Blu-ray of it, so it's not a movie that I would need to see a bunch of times. Or need a bunch of different versions of it. Dog versus Chainsaw 89. Do you like Godzilla? Do I like the character? Yes. Do I like the most recent Godzilla movie? Nope. Dylan Thomas. Anyone seen Mother? Actually just watched it for the first time today. I will say this. I have my top 10 best. I have my top 10 worst. It will be on one of those lists. It will be on one of those lists. Jason Williams. London Had Fallen is so trash. Yes. Stefan P. Sean Chandler just started watching your videos. Great videos. Don't you talk to Sean in my video. Sean gets enough damn... Ooh, don't you talk about Sean in my video. B-Wise, hi Matthew. Matthew, hi B-Wise. Why are you talking to each other? Supposed to be talking to me. I'm the focus here, Matthew. You and Sean are corrupting my damn Q&A here. Now everybody's just having conversations. Let me see. Matthew V. Haynes, my question, do you think we'll ever get our collab done? No. Because every time I reply to you, it takes 10 weeks to hear back. Stefan B. Cody, what would your reaction if they reboot Back to the Future? It's going to happen eventually. Here's the thing. Back to the Future is easily probably the movie that I want to see remade the least. Just because I love it so much, I don't want to see a bad version of it. However, it is one of the movies, like the classic untouchable movies out there, that kind of lends itself to a remake more than others. Because you could do a movie about a kid growing up in 2017, 2020, I guess, if wherever the movie came out, in the late 2000s, that he has to go back to the 80s or the 90s to save his parents or whatever. And you could do that little time swap thing over many generations. So it would easily kind of lend itself to a remake. I just don't want to see it done because I don't think it's going to be anywhere near as good. Sean finally chiming in. I'm at 8,250 subs, but 8,251 sounds really nice. Final Herald, what 80s horror franchise should be put to rest? 80s horror franchise. I mean, none of them really. There's not really any of them that I'm so sick of that I want to be put to rest. Welcome back, Cody. I guess I must have trailed off for a second, or the connection must have lost or something like that. That must have been why everybody was talking. What's your least favorite horror movie? Freddy's Dead, I guess. There's worse movies out there, but that's my least favorite. Dog vs. Chainsaw, do you like Hellraiser? I like the first one. I haven't seen most of the series. Second one was weird. Third one was okay. Third one was just kind of a generic horror movie, but it was decent. Andrew, ever seen Fright Night the original? You're damn right. That's one of my favorite movies. I love Fright Night. I like the remake too. Nick Susi, Terminator 1 and 2 or Alien 1 and 2? I'm going to go Terminator. I love the Alien series, but I grew up more on Terminator. A little bit closer to my heart. Jason Williams, Cody, why you keep skipping my question? Well, before I even answer the question, I've said it a couple of times. This thing moves very fast. There's 50 people in here, so it keeps jumping every time somebody makes a question. I get to whatever questions I see. Some of them actually scroll past. Just keep putting it in like Jason's doing. If you really want me to see it, there's a chance that I'll be able to see it. But I also have Super Chat. I've had a couple people do those. If you put in a Super Chat, it supports the channel, but it also will pin your question up to the front of my screen for like 5 minutes. So I'll definitely answer your question if you do a Super Chat. But why you keep skipping my question? Watch Pinocchio's Revenge and Evolver. Those are good low-budget horror movies. Yeah, see, I don't know. See, like, I'm kind of gun-shy to, like, the old, schlocky, like, evil toy movies because I watched Puppet Master for a patron review and I fucking hated it. It was terrible. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if movies like that you can appreciate watching for the first time in 2017. Dank Bloop, I'm only 13. I love Abbott and Costello movies. Well, you are a cultured 13-year-old, so congratulations. Ricardo, you the man, Cody. Thank you. You the man, too. Dog versus Chainsaw. Cody, what's your favorite animal? Wolf. Wolf's always been my favorite animal. Austin Santos, what are some movies that came out this year that are overhyped? I think Spider-Man Homecoming is overhyped. That's definitely overhyped. The most overhyped is probably Get Out is overhyped. The Last Jedi is overhyped. Let me see, what else? Trying to think of another movie. That might be it, really, that I can think of right now. When I think of overhyped, I think of a movie that people are praising, like, way too much. Like, it's the best ever! And it's like, it's good. Let's not get carried away here. Let me see. John Marston. Hi, Cody. Hello, John. How's it in the Old West? Sleazy Dog, are you interested in the Slender Man movie coming? Not really. Not really. Kyle Sanders, do you like Amazing Spider-Man 2? No. I don't like either of the Amazing Spider-Man movies, especially 2. Dog vs. Chainsaw. Cody, you working on the Puppet Master series yet? Nah, I mean, that's not really a series that I'm working on per se. I had somebody request it from my Patreon to do the first one. Oh shit, I just got some super chats. All right. Someone requested that I do the first one. Didn't like it at all. Everybody said the second one and the third one's way better. So I said that it might be a movie that if I watch it, if I like it, I'll review it. But it's not really on the priority list. Eventually, maybe. Damn. All right. Let me get to these super chats real quick. Sorry, guys. Oh, Christian just donated. Well, thank you, Christian. If you have a question, let me know. Let me see. What in the world? Matthew V. Haynes. Do you think Sean Chandler is a good YouTuber? Sean Chandler is a fantastic YouTuber. Sean Chandler is actually... I mean, I'll be serious for a minute. I won't joke around. Sean is somebody that... Me and him kind of met each other very early on in both of our, YouTube careers. He had done it a few times before where, like, whenever he actually, took a serious run at it, we kind of met each other very early on, like around the 200 subscriber mark for both of us. And Sean is somebody that has pushed the envelope as far as, trying ideas like Masters of Movie Trivia, doing ranking videos, pushing certain things to kind of market his channel and kind of expand his channel. Sean is very creative and... dare I say, inspiring. He does a lot of things that I admire as far as testing boundaries and trying new things that I probably wouldn't do, maybe to my own fault. But I always commend him for always trying new things and trying to do things. And as far as the quality of his channel, he's always somebody that I like watching because he's very real, which is what I try to do. Just try to be real. Just try to talk movies. I'm not trying to be like Siskel and Ebert. I'm not trying to be somebody that's stamped on Blu-ray sets. Cody Leach gives it 2 thumbs up. I'm just somebody that enjoys movies and talks about it, and that is what his channel's even called. So I mean, Sean is a very, very good YouTuber and a good friend. All right, let me see. Was that the only super chat? Yeah, it was. I thought maybe there was more. All right. So, let me see. Trial and Error. Thoughts on Suspiria being remade? It's a movie that I've known about forever and I expect it to be remade. I've actually never seen the original. I bought it on Blu-ray from eBay and it is taking fucking forever to get here. I ordered it literally the beginning of December and it's still not here. So whoever sold me that damn thing must have put that motherfucker on a snail and told it to go to Georgia. But I hear it's like a horror masterpiece. I'll see. I'm not going into it with doubt necessarily, but it's a very stylistic movie that I'm either going to really like or I'm going to get caught up in the style, and I'm not going to like it. So we'll see. But thoughts on it being remade, it was going to happen eventually. Monty Marino, Cody, love the channel. What do you think of the new Halloween that's coming? I have high hopes for it because if it does really good, means it's going to be kind of a resurgence for classic slashers. If it does really bad, you're not going to see anybody doing any classic slasher sequels for a while. John Marston, do you like the Wishmaster movies? I've never seen any of them. I've seen pieces of them. I don't really look like they're for me, to be honest with you. They look a little too cheesy. Let me see. Movie Freak 2000, do you like White House Down? Never had any interest in seeing it. Not a big, what's the name of the director? The guy, I mean, he does all the big, disaster movies. I can't think of his damn name. I don't really like any of his movies. I like The Patriot, and I like Universal Soldier, that's it. I'll think of his name, an hour from now. But no, I never had any interest in seeing it. Thank Bloop, have you ever seen The Ginger Dead Man? And yes, I've seen some weird fucking low-budget horror movies. Nope, never even heard of it. Kyle Sanders, is Bye Bye Man the best horror movie of 2017? Well, if you have done your research and watched my top 5 worst horror movies of 2017, you will know my answer to that question. Criticize or review, Leprechaun vs. Chucky will be the best. Nah. No. Don't. I like the Leprechaun movies as much as everybody else. They're the definition of guilty pleasure. But that's a weird mix of quality there. Chucky and Leprechaun. Stefan P. Can't believe Justice League was hated. I thought people it was going to be good, but you're making good points. DC's always rushing with their movies, trying to top the MCU. I must have been really delayed with answering that question. I thought that was like a half hour ago. But yeah. Dog vs. Chainsaw. What's your favorite werewolf horror movie? Favorite werewolf horror movie? There's not too many good ones, to be honest with you. People love American Werewolf in London. It's a good one. I like it. I don't love it. Didn't grow up with it. The Howling, same situation. Like it, don't love it. Didn't grow up with it. I actually like American Werewolf in Paris more than most people. Underworld, the first two are really cool movies, I think. I cannot think of one. We need a genuinely great werewolf movie because we got tons of vampire movies. Nick Susi. If you ever got the chance to check out Psycho 2, obviously not as great as the first, but in my opinion, a solid underrated horror film. Psycho 2 I actually prefer to the first one because the first one is so old. It's a movie that I appreciate more than I actually love. Psycho 2 I actually genuinely love. Saw it for the first time this year. Directed by Tom Holland, guy that did Fright Night, guy that did the first Child's Play, and it's awesome. I love Psycho 2. Jason Williams, I'll send you both movies. Maybe you'll like them. You're determined for me to see those movies. Sleazy Dog, what's your top anticipated films for 2018? Keep your eyes peeled because that video is actually coming soon. Don't want to spoil it with my answers right now. I will say some of them, The New Mutants, Infinity War, Halloween 2018, Dragged Across Concrete, and that's the end of your little tease. Jackson Jones, what's your favorite horror movie soundtrack? Trick or Treat. Not the horror movie anthology, the metal horror movie. One of the best soundtracks ever. Regular Falls, what are the things you like about the remake of Fright Night? I personally felt they butchered the fun that the original had. David Tennant is cool, but he was meh in this one, and the CGI is weak. Well, David Tennant is actually one of the things I liked about it. I think it kept the fun. I didn't think it really trashed it, to be honest with you. I thought that it did a nice little spin on some of the characters. I thought that a lot of the modernization of it was good. I thought that Colin Farrell was very cool and very effective as kind of like the seductive vampire next door. I mean, let's be honest. Like, Chris Sarandon's awesome, but Colin Farrell's a panty dropper. So it's like perfect casting. So I enjoy that movie. I don't know. A lot of people don't like it. I thought it was great. CGI is weak. I mean, yeah, but it was a movie where it was fun enough where the CGI didn't really bother me. I wasn't expecting it to be awesome. What's the best season of a TV show of all time? Season 4 of Breaking Bad. Close second is season 4 of Breaking Bad, season 4 of Dexter, and season 5 of The Shield. The one where now I'm gonna forget his fucking name. The black guy that comes in. Everybody always makes fun of his eye. Damn, he's a great actor too. I hate when I fucking stub up like that. Forrest Whitaker. There it is. Had to go back into the cerebral cortex. The season that Forrest Whitaker joins the Shield. So those three. Christian, been binge watching your vids. Really got me back into sitting down and watching movies I never would. So thanks. Awesome, man. Glad to hear it. Kelly Marie. Wow. Kelly Marie Farrell says hello. Hello. Monty Marino. Cody, love the channel, man. What do you think of the new Halloween coming up? I've answered that a couple times. So, I mean, I'd be saying the same thing. So I'm sure you heard my answer. But thank you. Damn. Sorry, guys. If you're just joining, I've got the flu. And I've got a dry cough and it's killing me. Mystic Creek, do you think New Line ruined the Friday the 13th franchise? They certainly didn't do any fucking favors. As soon as they got a hold of it, you could tell they didn't know what to do with it. I mean, you got Jason Goes to Manhattan. You got Jason Goes to Hell. You got, or was Manhattan New Line? That might not have been New Line. But anyway, I enjoy Jason X, but most Friday fans hate it. But did they ruin it? No, because it's still going on. But they didn't do it any favors. Matthew V. Haynes, yes, Sean's a great man. Very fortunate to know him. And you too, Cody. Best parts of 2017? Yeah! We are the top 3 2017. You heard it here first. Let me see. Ooh, my fucking hand's killing me now. Gary Lee just joined us 7 minutes ago. Kyle Sanders, do you think Bye My Man is the best horror movie 2017? I don't remember if you already asked that question or if somebody else asked it, but that's an obvious joke because I hate it. Dog versus Chainsaw. Cody, are you ready for Star Wars Han Solo story? I'm not going to bullshit. I'll be there opening night to see it. Am I excited for it? No. Honestly, I could give a shit if I ever see that movie. Sean Chandler, very wise words. Thanks, man. Your kind words mean a lot to me. Well, I hope they do. And I meant every word of it, Sean. Angel Cruz, hey, Cody Leach, I want to know who will win, Chucky or Leprechaun in a death match. Chucky. Just because I like him more. Stefan P. is asking Sean questions. You asked Sean questions on Sean's Q&A, Stefan. Monte Marino. Hell yeah, I hope Halloween blows us away. Me too. Will, movies you got me to watch. The Babysitter, the original Halloween, and Nightmare on Elm Street, Dream Warriors. Wow. I've never seen Halloween or Dream Warriors. Well, I'm glad that I could introduce you to those fine pieces of cinema. Roland Emmerich. Thank you, Gary. Yes, that's the guy I was talking about that I don't like. Michael R. Thoughts on the Purge movies. The first one was a big missed opportunity. The second one was badass. The third one wasn't quite as good as the second one, but it was still pretty good. Second one was like the best Punisher movie that we've gotten. Nick P, will you be doing a Friday the 13th movie ranking? Yes, I'm reviewing and ranking all the Friday the 13th movies starting in January at some point. Have you ever seen any of the Hostel movies? Asked Joshua Martin. Yes, I've seen the first 2. I have no interest in ever watching them again. Not that I think that they're horrible. I actually liked the first one a lot when it first came out. Even though it disturbed me more than any movie I've ever seen in my life while I saw it in theaters. Like I was physically like shaken when I left the theater. Like I couldn't listen to heavy music for like a day. Like I felt like I literally watched people get murdered. That's how effective that movie was. Second one didn't have that effect on me, even though it was a little bit more brutal. But my movie tastes have changed to where movies like Hostel, movies like Don't Spit on Your Grave, movies that are just like brutality for brutality's sake, just to show how gross we can make it and show how brutal and how, you know what I'm getting at. Like movies that just want to just eviscerate humans for the sake of making it look gross on screen, just to make you squeamish. I have no interest in watching those movies anymore. It's not like a moral high ground thing. It's just something. It's just like your taste buds. Sometimes your tastes change, and I don't get anything from that anymore. Serge did a super chat. Thank you so much. Love your videos, Cody. Keep up your great work here. Thank you so much, man. If you have a question, let me know. I'll try to find your name again. Slim Gucci, old Pennywise or new Pennywise? I gotta go old Pennywise. It's a debate for the ages, but Tim Curry as Pennywise is one of 2 movie characters that genuinely scared the shit out of me in my life. I grew up watching horror movies from a very young age. They never scared me. There was never movies that genuinely scared me. No Freddy movies scared me. No Chucky movies scared me. No Halloween movies scared me. The vampire movies didn't scare me. I mean, like Pet Sematary and shit like that. For the most part, didn't scare me, with the exception of one character. Horror movies genuinely, for the most part, don't scare me. And I never had an era in my life where I was a scared kid whenever a horror movie was on. I always just enjoyed it. But Pennywise and Zelda from Pet Sematary, I literally had nightmares about. So because I have that kind of dark connection to the old Tim Curry Pennywise, to me, the new Bill Skarsgård Pennywise didn't quite measure up to that. Maybe that's an unfair expectation, because he did a lot of great things. He definitely put more acting into his version of Pennywise, and I definitely would never argue with somebody that says that version of Pennywise is scarier. Certainly for this generation it will be. If you go back and watch the 90s miniseries, a lot of people seeing it for the first time are going to probably laugh at the Tim Curry Pennywise, but for me, when I grew up with it, that was it. Like that was the crown jewel of scary shit. So I'm a Tim Curry man. Dog versus Chainsaw. Do you like Kevin Bacon, actor, to play as Freddy Krueger? For those that don't know what he's talking about, there was a little bit of a rumor-ish kind of thing going on where somebody had randomly put a tweet out saying, I want Kevin Bacon to play Freddy Krueger, and Kevin Bacon liked it, maybe retweeted it, but he responded and he put, I like the way you think. And from there, the horror community went nuts and said, Kevin Bacon's in the running to play Freddy Krueger. As far as anybody knows, nobody's even topped Kevin Bacon. But I did a video on this. Would I like Kevin Bacon to play Freddy Krueger? On one hand, yes, because Kevin Bacon is an awesome actor. Kevin Bacon could bring something really, really cool and unique to Freddy Krueger. Kevin Bacon is obviously a fan of horror. He started in Friday the 13th, and just his response alone, I like the way you think, means that it's something that he would put his passion into. And yeah, for all those reasons. The reasons I don't want him to do it is because whoever they get to be the new Freddy Krueger needs to be able to play Freddy Krueger for a while. Because if they succeed, they're going to want to make 2, 3, 4, 5 sequels. Kevin Bacon is in his 60s, I think, or at least about to be 60. So if he plays Freddy Krueger for the first time, that's going to be at least 2 years from now. And then how many more movies do you honestly think you're going to get him to do? So, I don't know. I think if you pick somebody that's already in their 50s or 60s, I think you're kind of setting yourself up for a remake very quickly. So, for those reasons, I wouldn't. But, I mean, Kevin Bacon's the shit. I'm so sick of coughing. Nick P., are you optimistic about the future of the Conjuring universe? I'm willing to be optimistic after Annabelle Creation because I liked it so much. But I'm still kind of pessimistic about it. Realistic. I'm realistic about it. Kevin Riley, what futuristic technology in Back to the Future 2 do you wish was actually real? For hoverboards, man. Hoverboards. I'll say it like Joe Rogan said. It's 2017. Where are the jetpacks, bitch? Kelly Marie Farrell, Dog Soldiers and Howl, not Howling, are good werewolf movies. I need to watch Dog Soldiers again. I don't remember liking it. Howl I've never seen. Dank Bloop. Oh, here's a serious question. I'm going to be a big brother soon. This is my first sibling. Any advice? I am the oldest of 5, so I am a good person to ask. Be prepared and be mature about the fact that you're about to lose a majority of your parents' attention for a while. When parents have a new baby, they don't cease to love the older children by any means, or at least they shouldn't. But a baby kind of captures your attention constantly for a few years. Like, it's almost to the point where you kind of become an assistant in the house. Not to say this is going to happen, because this is how it was for me. You know, your parents might be completely different, but you're going to be relied upon a lot for help. For changing diapers, for helping clean the house, for watching the baby so your parents can get some sleep, for millions of things that they never asked you to do before. And the baby is going to get a lot of the, oh my God, oh, look, it's so cute, like all those moments for a while. So, be prepared for that. Any other advice? I mean, just be a good older brother. I mean, younger siblings are a pain in the ass for a while. They're going to annoy you. They're going to take up all the attention. They're going to take up all the time. They're going to take up room. You might even have to share a room. I mean, I don't know what your logistics are. But eventually, they get to the point where they're like your best friend. I mean, like, my brothers and sisters I'm very close with. They all had their era where I wanted to fucking throw them out the window. But then, you know, they get old enough where you start watching the same movies. You start teaching them things that you were taught. You start taking them places. And you just build this bond with siblings that's just like nothing else. So, sorry, I got a little bit deep with that. But very passionate about family, if you can't tell. Movie Freak, Michael Myers versus Jason. Who do you think would win? I like Michael more, but Jason would probably win just because he's literally like an unstoppable zombie. Michael Myers, for all intents and purposes, is just a guy that just has not been killed yet. Sleazy Dog, Cody, do you watch Black Mirror? What do you think of it? I have not watched Black Mirror. Heard good things about it, just haven't really watched it. All right, I'm going to scroll down a little bit because I'm behind. All right. Joshua P, subscribe me and I will back sub. Guys, don't ignore me. I'm an active. That is the. If you're joking, hats off to the joke that nobody's laughing at. If you're not joking, that is the douchiest way to get subscribers, is to invade somebody else's video and beg for subscribers. So I don't know which end of the coin you fall on that. If you fall onto the joke, like I said, I would sharpen up your humor a little bit. If you fall onto the douchey end of the coin, I would say fuck off and get your own subscribers. Let me see. Will Sorrell, if they were all to fight, who would die in what order? Michael Myers, Leatherface, Jason, or Freddy? Leatherface would die first because he's a human. Michael Myers, depending on what Michael Myers you're talking about. If you're talking about the original 1978 Michael Myers, he would die next. If you're talking about like the unstoppable fucking zombie Myers, then Michael Myers and Jason would just constantly just go at each other for fucking 25 years until somebody finally died. Depending on where the fight is at is where the answer for Freddy. If you're in the dream world, Freddy's going to win no matter what. If you're in the real world, then Freddy would die next. So, if you're in the dream world, Freddy wins. If you're in the real world, it would be an unstoppable battle between Jason and Michael Myers until they are bloody paste and they both lose. But Jason would probably win. Boomstick. Since the guys who had the Texas Chainsaw films write lost them, that means the next film will be a reboot. What direction should they go, in your opinion? If I had my way, which will never happen, they would go back to the Hewitt family. They would go back and do a sequel to the remake. I don't know why the hell they never did that. I know they kind of shot themselves in the foot taking off Leatherface's arm, but you could work around that. But that would be my take, is to go back. If they're not going to go back to the Hewitt family, they need to at least go back and make a movie like the remake, where it is just a snapshot in time of this family. You have the same old setup where teenagers or a group of people end up upon this fucked up family for whatever reason. Cast a badass Leatherface. Cast some scary motherfucker to be like the side family character like Sheriff Hoyt. And make a disturbing movie that is not just focused on gore. That would be my direction. Kyle Sanders, how do you feel about the Harry Potter movies? It's one of those series that I constantly want to watch, but never make time to watch it. I've only seen the first two, and I only remember the first one. Movie Freak, Cody, do you think The Conjuring was really a true story? I mean, it's based off true events. Like, all that shit is on record that it actually was recorded by the, I don't remember the name of the family, but the Warrens. How true is the movie adaptation to the actual story? It probably stretched it quite a bit. So, yeah, I don't know. I'd say probably 60% of the events of the movie probably is pretty close. Whenever it gets into the real hardcore exorcism, fantastical stuff that looks good on screen, that's when I think it's probably bullshit. But as far as like a haunted house, a family that got scared, that called in the Warrens, that a witch killed herself on, supposedly, I think all that's probably true. Coolio Robles, thoughts on The Predator next year? I talked about this a little bit, but I'm looking forward to it. I love Shane Black. I think that it's in good hands. Bronco Juggalo. How are you doing after the accident? Some scars still showing. Are you into MOTU? And are you looking forward to a 2019 movie? MOTU. Is that Monsters of the Universe or something like that? If I'm getting it wrong, comment again. But if you're talking about like the Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, like King Showdown, I honestly don't care about it. I haven't liked any of the new like Godzilla, King Kong movies at all. How am I doing at the accident? I'm doing good. Really, like the tip of my nose is still red, but the scars that I had right here are almost all the way faded. So like, how I looked immediately after the accident, I would never have expected to me look this good after it. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I look exactly the same, except for a little bit of redness that will go away eventually. But I looked so bad after the accident that I honestly thought I was going to be disfigured for a while. Like, it was hard. But I'm doing great. Like it's 1,000,000,000 times better than I thought it was going to be. So I'm doing fantastic. Blunt Man, I think Dacre Montgomery, Billy from Stranger Things season 2 would be a good new Freddy. Put him in some makeup and let him do his thing. I mean, I guess. I don't know. He's a little young. Anybody that's an awesome, talented, kind of underknown actor would be great as Freddy. I just want them to find somebody that's underknown. I don't want them to put like Bradley Cooper in Freddy makeup or something like that. I want them to find somebody unknown like Robert Englund was. Angel Cruz, Jeepers Creepers versus Jason. That would be interesting because if Jeepers Creepers ate anything from Jason, it would be like superpowered Jeepers Creepers. And now we're gonna have to talk about Victor Salva. Somebody's gonna get offended. Dog versus Chainsaw. Cody, do you think they're going to be a Hulk movie anytime soon? No. I don't know exactly why. There's rights with I think Universal or Paramount or something like that. Disney do not own the rights to make a standalone Hulk movie. They only own the rights to utilize the character as a side character. That's why you've only seen him in the Avengers and in Thor Ragnarok. So until that gets resolved, you will not see a standalone Hulk movie, unfortunately. Because I think they could make a great one. Mario Lopez, what horror icon scared the shit out of you as a kid? Which horror icon would you not want to come face to face with as an adult now? Um, Pennywise is the only one that scared me. Which horror icon would I not want to come face to face with as an adult now? I think the scariest one to probably come face to face with would be Leatherface. Like if you just was like walking down an alley and all of a sudden this dude in a fucking butcher's outfit and a chainsaw and a fucked up face just started chasing you, like I think that would be initially scarier than a guy in a hockey mask or a guy in a Michael Myers mask or some guy that looks like Freddy. Like I think that would probably be the scariest. Sand Wolf. Why do you complain so much? I've lost control of my bowels. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Um, Ed McMuffin, do you like Rage Against the Machine? No, I've never been a fan. I like one of their songs, but I've never really been. I've never given them the fair shake. I've never like grabbed their albums and listened to them, but they're not really my style. Gary Lee, at what age will you intro your daughter to horror? Well, my one daughter, Bella, I've already introed her to horror. I introed her at age 6. Um, it's just going to depend. Like, if you're talking about my 1-year-old, it's going to depend on what her personality is. Like, she's going to see horror movies. She's already seen them. I mean, she's going to see horror movies vicariously just because I'm going to be watching them. So, if she's a really skittish kid that doesn't like it and gets scared and everything, then it'll be a while. But if she's really kind of tough, like Bella was, where she enjoys it and she kind of likes the forbiddenness of it, like I did when I was a kid, then I'll introduce her at a young age. But I'll be very careful about which ones. Like I've said, like um, I discussed this on a collab, like when to introduce your kids to horror movies, or should you? And each kid's different, but there's certain horror movies. Like I think you can watch A Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, the earlier Child's Play movies, and it's not really that egregious. You put on Spit on Your Grave, Hostel, fucking Last House on the Left, stuff like that, and you're pushing it. Like, I wouldn't show even my son those kinds of movies yet, just because of the subject matter, and because of the things on screen, but I don't know. Everybody's different. Some people think that sexual assault in a movie is more offensive than seeing somebody get their head cut off by Jason. Some people think the opposite. They think that's splatter fun, that's obviously something that's dramatized and fantasized for a movie, whereas something like sexual assault is very real. So I don't know. That I probably went down a rabbit hole with that, but Michael R. What is the straight up best movie that you've ever seen and have been like, holy shit, that movie was the best fucking movie I've seen? It's not technically the best movie ever made, but my favorite movie of all time is the original Die Hard. It's a movie that I love every moment of it. I love the comedy, I love the action, I love the drama, I love all the actors, all the characters. I can watch it multiple times a year, every single year for decades, and never get tired of it. So that's the best answer I can give you. Cody, have you seen Disney's Halloween movies? Mr. Boogedy of Bride of Boogedy. No, I've never seen him. Never even heard of him. Nick P, do you think a slasher cinematic universe could work? Before everybody got all cinematic universe crazy, I would have been for the idea. Now I don't want it because I'm tired of everything having to be a cinematic universe. Could it work? Yes. Do I necessarily want to see it? No. I just want good slasher movies. If they could just make another good run at Nightmare on Elm Street, another good run at Halloween movies, another good run at Friday the 13th, get Don Mancini's head out of his ass and continue to make better Chucky movies, I'm fine with that. I don't need them to eventually have team-up movies. Freddy vs. Jason was awesome. Should have never happened, but it was awesome the fact that we got it. We'll probably never see anything else like that again. And I don't necessarily think they need to work towards it. So, oh, I might have gotten a super chat. Let me scroll for a second. Where is that thing? There it is. Serge gave me another one. Got to go, Cody. Catch you in the next stream. Take care. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate the super chats a lot. Anybody that's just joining, super chat is a way to kind of donate and support the channel, and it actually pins your comment to where if you really want to get your question answered, that's the best way because it actually pins it to my screen, and all I got to do is click the super chat button and it's there for like 5 to 10 minutes pinned, whereas everyone else, every time somebody does a new comment, it shuffles my screen, and it's just a matter of luck on which ones I see. So the other way is just to keep putting in the same question if I miss it. All right. Let me see. I'm just going to find a place to start. Kelly Marie Farrell, planning something new with the channel for 2018. Not really. I think that I've kind of found my niche for success right now, doing old classic franchises. I think everybody loves me doing that, kind of anticipating each new review, ending in a ranking video. Every kind of new idea that I try is a blast to try, but it doesn't really succeed, like Pitch Wars. I was very excited about Pitch Wars. And some people genuinely loved that show, but it took so many hours of work to not only write the scripts, to plan and actually film the collab, to edit the video. Sorry. Just to get 200 views. When I could literally, right now, I could drop a Jeepers Creepers 2 review and I could have 200 views in an hour. So it's just a matter of time versus logistics. So anything new, not that I could think of at the moment. Definitely there'll be something that I haven't done before by at least the halfway point of 2018. But as of right now, as far as my plan, I'm just going to focus on doing some more franchise reviews, doing the new movies that are out, doing some more ranking videos, maybe the occasional collab, hopefully some more frequent Scream streams over on Drum Dum's channel. That's pretty much where my focus is right now. Not really any new ideas. All right. Boomstick, why do you think it's so hard to make a good modern Dracula film? Because you don't have anybody in charge of it that knows how to make a good Dracula film. You don't have anybody that's passionate about the story. You don't have a capable director or a writer. You need somebody who is a fan of the classic Dracula or a fan of vampires that has a new spin on Dracula to do something like that. Everybody nowadays tries to make everything like a PG-13 movie or a somewhat action horror movie or a setup for a universe. They're not focused on making a great Dracula movie. They're focused on making a Dracula movie that leads to a Frankenstein movie, that leads to a Mummy versus Dracula movie, and it's just everybody's head is not in the right spot. Kevin Riley, Elm Street needs to keep Jackie, but a better script and a better supporting cast. I highly doubt they're going to do that, but I would not be upset about that. I thought that Jackie was good, for as good as he could do with the script that they gave him. Angel Cruz, who do you like the best, Freddy or Chucky, and the best lines ever? I love Freddy the most, but Chucky's got the better lines, if I'm being honest. Humongous. Who knows if this will be lost, but I asked you, would you be interested in a Child's Play reboot? I think they could do something cool and different, but the problem is they would need to recast Brad. They were supposed to do a Child's Play reboot before Curse came out. That was what they were supposed to do. They were talking about doing a remake, and they were going to keep Brad Dourif. And Don Mancini was going to write and direct it. And he's the one that wrote all the movies and directed the last 3. But it became Curse of Chucky, which was a better move. But then he kind of shit the bed with Cult of Chucky, at least in my opinion. Half the fans disagree. What do I think about a reboot? I think as long, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with the fact that Cult of Chucky got leaked. I don't know how much money they're going to make. If it's profitable, you're going to see another Netflix Chucky. But as far as what do I think about a reboot, I think eventually it'll happen. And the biggest thing that would scare me about it is losing Brad Dourif. Because Brad Dourif, more than any other icon, more than Robert Englund as Freddy, in my opinion, Brad Dourif is Chucky. I cannot imagine Chucky without that voice. I can't. I can imagine a Freddy that doesn't look like Robert Englund. I've seen it. I can imagine, I mean, you could put anybody in the Jason mask. You could put anybody in the Michael Myers mask. You could put anybody in Leatherface. But Brad Dourif is that character. His voice, his delivery of that voice is Chucky. Not to say that he's the only one that can do it, but as a Chucky fanatic, that is the one horror icon that I have the most trouble finding room to believe somebody else could do as good or better. So, eventually it will happen. I'm not going to cry about it, but recasting Brad Dourif would be my biggest fear. Sandwolf, when Kevin Bacon got stabbed on Friday the 13th, do you think he got to fully exhale the smoke he had just inhaled before he died? Honestly, I don't even remember that scene well enough to even remember that he was smoking. So, Freddy versus Pinhead. I think Pinhead will win. What is your idea? I don't know. It's a hard one because they both kind of have their own realm. Pinhead's got minions and shit, but Freddy can literally do anything. So, I don't know. That'd be wicked to see that one. Nick P. Do you believe in ghosts and the supernatural? To what extent? To a certain extent, I do. I've never... one time, I've had a weird kind of supernatural thing happen. I'll try to make this a short story. But basically, in our first house back in the 90s, me and my brother shared a room. We had a bunk bed. I had the bottom bunk, he had the top bunk. And continuously, for weeks, I would sleep on a certain angle on my bed to where in the night I would often push my pillow off my bed and my pillow would fall in front of our heating vent. And my dad used to bitch at us. He would say, stop doing that, sleep at the other end. You're going to start a fire. One night you're going to put the pillow over the heating vent and it's going to get hot and it's going to start fire and you're going to fucking kill all of us. Now, whether or not that would have actually ever happened, who knows? But I didn't listen. And there was one night, my brother had these Power Ranger walkie-talkies. And they were sitting on top of our TV. And one night at like 2 in the morning, I woke up in the middle of the night because I kept hearing this sound. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And like, you know, when you're a kid, you keep going back to sleep trying to ignore it. And eventually I was like, what the hell is that sound? And I stood up and it was my brother's Power Ranger walkie-talkies that was switched on. You know, when you switch on a walkie-talkie, unless you had the button held, it just goes. So I turned it off. I was like, what the fuck? Who turned that thing on? It's weird. And I went and I looked, and my pillow was covering the heating vent. I picked it up. Damn thing was red hot. Like, hotter than... I almost couldn't hold the damn thing. It was hot. Could have started a fire. Went back to sleep. Didn't think anything of it. Next day, woke up. Took the little Power Ranger things down. No batteries. No batteries in the fucking thing. True story, people. No bullshit. So I don't know if that's supernatural. I don't know if that's divine intervention. God didn't want us to burn up in the middle of the night. Whatever happened. That's the only weird event I've ever had in my entire life. But there's so much evidence, there's so much documentation to support supernatural that it's hard for me not to believe in it, and to some extent. All right, scrolling. It just dawned on me that Child's Play and Toy Story are both movies about boys named Andy with toys that come to life. I actually have a Chucky movie, or a Chucky shirt that says Gore Story instead of Toy Story, or Gory Story or something like that. And it's Chucky with a knife, and it says Andy. Like, it's made to be like Toy Story. So yeah, it's kind of a neat little parallel there. Boomstick, are there any old horror movies that you think should be remade? up until this year, I've said it every single time somebody has said that question. I'd like to see a remake to The People Under the Stairs because I don't like it. I don't know, people love that movie. I've watched it multiple times. I don't get it. So I would like a remake just to give me a chance to maybe like some version of that movie. Dank Bloop. Think if they did another Leatherface film, they should have Chop Top and all the other family members, and they should make it as dark as the remakes. That'd be interesting. I don't know if you could do Chop Top justice without Bill Moseley doing it, but if for whatever reason, if they could get Chop Top back with Bill Moseley, that would make horror fans go nuts. Angel Cruz, you wish there was a remake of Ghost Rider. I don't really care about Ghost Rider. I didn't like either of the movies. Dan Schotter, Black Christmas, original or remake? Original, all the way. Original is an awesome movie. Watched it for the first time this year. Watched the remake for the first time 3 days ago. I thought it was horrible. Blossom Powerpuff, what's your thoughts on Dr. Giggles? Never seen it. Dog vs. Chainsaw, do you think the Sharks movies these days are good? Absolutely not. There's only 2 movies that are shark movies that I genuinely like. Jaws, obviously, is a classic. Love it. And I have a guilty pleasure love for Deep Blue Sea. Never liked any other shark movie I've ever seen in my life. I think they're terrible. Boomstick, are there any popular horror films that you were personally never able to enjoy? Most of the Saw movies. I've already gave my spiel on Hostel. I don't know if this is a popular movie, but it's definitely a well-known movie. I would never be able to enjoy a Serbian film if I ever decided to watch it, which I wouldn't. Last House on the Left. Not that I have like this big aversion to rape scenes in movies or anything like that, but for some reason I don't really enjoy that story. Even the remake, I just don't really. I don't get much enjoyment of that direction for a movie, so I never really got to enjoy that one. Spit on Your Grave for the same reason. Gary Lee, that's awesome, doing the goosebump stuff with my daughter. She digs it. That's a good little gateway drug. My kids like those too. And Are You Afraid of the Dark? Those are on Amazon Prime. Brian Miller, congrats. Thank you. What's your thoughts on the Hatchet series? I enjoy the first one. The second one I hated. The third one I will review soon, right before the fourth one comes out, so that I can kind of ride a little bit of momentum with that. All I'll say with the third one is that I liked it more than the second one. Congrats on 7,000. Thank you, Madar. Got a thickness. Interesting name. People keep asking if I think New Line ruined the Friday the 13th franchise. I've already answered that a couple of times, but they didn't ruin it, obviously, because it's still going on, but they didn't do it any favors. Rad Movie Guy, are you buying Friday the 13th Blu-ray collection coming in February? Yes, just because it's so cheap. I actually bought the first 6 Friday the 13th movies in preparation for my reviews in the little single Blu-rays that they did. I had to get 5 and 6 in the double one, but I still think it's kind of bullshit that it's not even the complete collection. Like, you don't have Jason X, you don't have Jason Goes to Hell, you don't have the remake in it. So it's a bullshit collection, but it's like $20. So I mean, yeah, I'll get it. Cause I'm a whore. Julio Robles, favorite Tarantino film? Pulp Fiction. Well, loaded answer. Pulp Fiction is my favorite Tarantino directed movie. My favorite movie that he's ever written is True Romance, all day long. Angel Cruz, Babysitter was the best ride I ever watched because Babysitter was cool and the kid. Yeah, it was a great movie. Gary Lee, Cody, I'm out. Love your stuff. Always a pleasure, sir. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate you coming by, man. Rad Movie Guy, they can't make one slasher nor less 7 for a universe. All right, trying to get caught up, guys. Sand Wolf, Cody, do you think Carl Weathers' arm cut off by Predator emptied the magazine as it kept shooting while unattached? Probably. Favorite TV series? Breaking Bad, of all time. Current running TV series? Probably Shameless. Please let New Line make a new Friday the 13th movie when they get the rights back in 2018. I don't know what the rights thing is. There was a lot of legal issues going on with that, so I don't know if New Line gets it back or what's going on, but they certainly need to do something. Looks like I got a super chat. All right. Super chat, super chat, super chat. Let me see where the hell that thing is. Sometimes the button's a little slow. Kelly Marie Farrell, thank you for your donation. Wasted opportunity that should be made again. Eventually they need to go back to the Universal Monsters. I don't think they're going to continue with the Dark Universe, but that's a wasted opportunity that should be made again eventually. Trying to think of something else. Trying to think of like a big horror movie. It was a wasted opportunity. It was certainly a wasted opportunity not to make a sequel to the Friday the 13th remake because it was financially profitable. It was a big wasted opportunity. A big wasted opportunity to not have a sequel to the Texas Chainsaw remake. They did the prequel, but they could have done a sequel and continued on with it. I think they should make that again. They should go back to the Hewitt family. And I do want to see Derek Mears as Jason again. So if I had my way with the Friday the 13th franchise, they would just do another one with Derek Mears. They don't have to go way out of their way to connect it to the remake, but they need to use that Jason and just make another good one. Thank you for your question, Kelly. All right. Will Smith, True Romance is classic, my man, better than Pulp Fiction. I agree. True Romance is the shit. Dog vs. Chainsaw, did you like Freddy the Nightmares, the series? Never saw it. Never really had interest in checking it out. 90s TV, was it 80s or 90s? I want to say it was 90s. 90s TV is a whole other realm of bad whenever you go back and try to watch it now. Bill Franco, could there be a good horror movie with a midget as the bad guy? Of course. Just depends on the writing and the execution. Nick P, most consistent and least consistent slasher franchises. That's a good question. Most consistent is Scream. Because even though Scream 3 is definitely the worst of the series, it's not that bad. Before Cult of Chucky, I would have said Chucky, because the only one that I disliked up until that point was Seed. But it's still probably more consistent than most of the franchises, but being that I dislike Cult so much and I absolutely loathe Seed of Chucky, it does kind of tip that scale a little bit more. Least consistent... Probably Texas Chainsaw for a lot of reasons. Quality-wise and direction-wise. It's always going in somewhere new. There's no consistency. Freddy is pretty inconsistent. You got the first one's amazing. Second one's decent. Third one's amazing. Fourth one's decent. Fifth one's garbage. Sixth one's dumpster fire. New Nightmare's amazing. Freddy vs. Jason is really good. It's a lot of peaks and valleys. Halloween has a lot of peaks and valleys. Like the original's amazing. The second one's pretty decent. In my opinion, the third one's amazing. Fourth one's okay. Fifth one's bad. Sixth one is watchably bad. H2O is really good with a lot of problems. Resurrection's horrible. Rob Zombie movie's okay. Halloween 2 you can debate all day long. Friday the 13th is difficult for me to say that it's consistent because it's consistently bad. I mean, it's no secret that I'm not a fan of the Friday the 13th movies. Hopefully I will change my tune on some of them when I watch them to review them, but that's a pretty consistently bad franchise. Humongous. I'm sure people hate horror movies because of the overused jump scares and cliches. I think horror, more than any other franchise, is one of those, or more than any other genre, is one of those genres where if you're new to the genre, you need like a guide, or you need somebody for guidance of where to start, where to go, which movies to watch, which movies to avoid. Because if you take horror for what nowadays tells us is horror, like movies like the January, February schlock, like Wish Upon, The Gallows, shit like that, yes, people will not like horror, and they're going to say, these movies are all terrible for all the same reasons. Why do people love horror so much? But you got movies like The Devil's Candy. You got movies like The Babysitter. You got movies like It. You got movies like The Loved Ones. You got movies like Don't Breathe. So many movies that have none of those problems that people don't know about because it's not the movies that they see advertised in the horror season. Hey, isn't that Devin Graham? I'll be happy if they put out Jason Goes to Hell on Blu-ray unrated. Yes, I love that movie. It's actually, at least for as it stands right now, it might change. It's my least favorite Jason movie. Not a fan of it at all. Angel Cruz, do you think a female Predator will be in the Predator 2018? I don't think so. I think he's going back to basics and just having one Predator. I could be wrong, though. Bronco Jugulo, MOTU is He-Man. Masters of the Universe. Okay, I said Monsters of the Universe. I have no connection whatsoever with He-Man or Masters of the Universe. Never watched the cartoon or the movies, so I have no opinion on it. Burt Rodriguez, how do you feel about Star Trek movies? I haven't seen a lot of them. A lot of the original ones. I've seen Wrath of Khan. Wrath of Khan's great. That's the only movie in the original series movies. I saw every single one of the Next Generation movies in theaters with my dad growing up. Don't remember much about a lot of them except for First Contact. I always thought that one was good. I remember Insurrection being really, really boring. I remember enjoying, at least for my age at the time, Nemesis, even though everybody says it's the worst. But I remember Insurrection being painfully boring. As far as the new Star Trek, absolutely loved the first J.J. Abrams one. Really, really, really liked Into Darkness when I first saw it. Didn't like it quite as much on rewatch, but still like it quite a bit. And I really enjoyed Star Trek Beyond. So I like the new ones. How do I feel about this Quentin Tarantino one? I don't know what to expect for that one. Favorite guilty pleasure horror movie? Damn, I was just talking about this the other day too. A movie I know is horrible. It's not so much horror, although it has a lot of horror elements, but I think the greatest bad movie ever made, at least that I've seen, and I haven't seen a lot of them, is The Happening. The Happening is so bad, but I laugh my ass off every time I watch that movie at how horrible it is. Damn, there's a movie that I know that I love that sucks, but I can't think of it. If I think of it, I'll let you know, but The Happening is my best answer for what I can remember right now. Alright, looks like I got another super chat. Justin Chipman Show. Thanks a lot for the super chat, man. I would love it if you reviewed all the Resident Evil movies, including the CGI ones. Oh, God. I appreciate the fact that you would love it if I did it, but I don't think I have the strength to review that fucking franchise. Resident Evil, man. I love the games, most of them. But the movies always piss me off so much that they have nothing to do with the games as far as the storyline. The first Resident Evil is pretty decent. The second one's my favorite, Apocalypse, because it feels the most like the video game. What's the third one? Resident Evil Afterlife or some shit. No. The third one's something. I don't know. The third one, it's like the desert movie. I don't like that one very much. I actually really liked Resident Evil Afterlife, where she had all the clones in the beginning, and the first one had Wesker. I don't know if I'd like it if I watched it now, but elements of that I had fun with, and I've hated the last two. As far as the CGI ones, I've never seen any of them, so those might actually be better, but I've never seen them. But that would be a painful series to trek through. Kelly Marie Farrell, skip The Babysitter. You recommend it? You must not have seen my top 10 horror movies of 2017, Kelly, because it was my number one. The Babysitter is the shit. The Babysitter is fucking awesome. So, yes, I recommend it. Butchie Sexton, I don't think the Ouija movies were really that bad. I love the second one. I didn't like the first one at all. The second one I liked until... I actually loved the second one until like the last 20 minutes. whenever it got so explanation heavy and so CGI heavy, it had a very grounded 1960s or 70s feel to it, even to the point where Mike Flanagan stylized the movie a certain way, where he had the little cigarette burns, he had the title card, he had the feel of that era down, and the CGI fucked it up for me. So I loved that movie and ended up just being on it by the end of it. Angel Cruz, what's your thoughts on Mom and Dad? That's the new Nicolas Cage horror movie. I actually haven't even seen the trailer yet. I'm kind of burnt out on watching movie trailers. I prefer to go into a movie blind. So my method anymore, unless it's a movie where, like where I can't go on living unless I watch the trailer. One of the trailers, not all of them. For the most part, I kind of avoid trailers anymore. I like having a nice surprise. I like when everybody says, "Hey, you should go see Mom and Dad. It's really good." And I can go, cool, because I don't know dick about it. And I walk into the theater, and I'm totally blind. And that's the best way to experience a movie for me. Every time I do that now, I enjoy a movie so much more. 3 Billboards. Didn't know shit about it. Didn't watch any of the trailers. Didn't watch a plot synopsis. All I heard was everybody says this movie's awesome, and I have some free time. So I went and saw it, and that's just the best way to see a movie. It's just blind. So I have no thoughts on Mom and Dad. Ugh. Nothing is worse than a dry cough, because you don't hack anything up to relieve yourself. It's just constant irritation. All right. I'll probably go to the 2-hour mark, guys, and then I'll probably head out for the night. It's about another 15 minutes, so you keep sending your questions in. I appreciate everybody hanging out. This is fun. I'm glad I could kind of do this. I haven't done a Q&A in a while, but it's going to be 1 a.m. here. Favorite horror movie slasher, Freddy Krueger. Second place is Chucky. Chandler, any thoughts about the character Headless Horseman? He's a very cool character. I don't love the Tim Burton movie. I think that you could do it better. But very cool character, very cool lore. Dog vs. Chainsaw, is it bad that I like Jason Goes to Manhattan? I don't like the movie. Is it bad that you like it? No. There's plenty of movies that I like that everybody hates. Ugh. Kevin Riley. I used to think slasher movies were made by conservative Christians to prevent teen sex, because what were Judith Myers, Tina, and those camp counselors doing before they were killed? Yeah. Interesting take. Slashers kind of had behavioral modification subtext in there, but it definitely wasn't a Christian movement. Angel Cruz, what do you think of Predator 2? What do you think was a waste of time? A waste of time? No. I haven't seen it in years. It's okay. It's not terrible. Nick P, will you do a top 10 favorite horror movies of all time? Eventually, I probably will. I don't know. Favorites of all time is hard for me, because if I was to sit down and do like my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time, that would be a bitch of a list. And it would change a day after I did the video. So I might eventually, but I tend to like themes. You know, like top ranking the Friday movies, ranking the Chucky movies, and top 5 horror sequels and stuff like that. Like top 10 favorite period of all time is very difficult. Gincel 37. Loved your Child's Play series reviews. Totally agree that Child's Play 2 is the best of the series, whereas Child's Play 3 is harshly underrated. Here's hoping they get special edition DVDs someday. Yeah. I love Child's Play 2. It's a very tight race between that and Bride of Chucky, which kind of goes to my point of picking favorites of all time. It's very hard because I love both of them damn near equally. It just, on that day, Child's Play 2 is more in my heart. But yeah, Child's Play 3, I think, is... Everybody said, like, every franchise has certain ones that everybody says is shit. And Scream 3 and Child's Play 3 are the ones to me where I'm like, come on, they're not that bad. Like, Scream 3 is clearly the worst of the 4, but it's still pretty good. It's got bad shit in it, don't get me wrong. It's not a great movie, but it's still pretty good. Child's Play 3 is better, but Child's Play 3 is really its biggest crime. It's just that it kind of retreads a lot of the same things that Child's Play 2 did so good, but why is that a bad thing? I don't know. I always loved Child's Play 3. I never got that one. Everybody hated it. I'd love it if you... Oh, I just got a text from my girlfriend Holly that's calling me a bitch because I didn't fucking answer her question. So everybody pause. I have to find Holly's question. Holly Jones, what was your favorite scene in The Room? And don't lie. Ha 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 ha. You're so funny, Holly. Anything for my princess. I answer your question. My favorite scene in The Room is the... I did not hit her. It's bullshit. No, it's a lie. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. That's probably my favorite one. The second favorite one is whenever he walks in to that rose, flower shop. Just the way that the dialogue is timed in that scene is so bad that it's fucking hilarious. Like, if you watch the scene, he walks in. Hi, what can I get for you? Hi, can I get the dozen roses, please? Oh, hi, Tommy. I didn't recognize you. Like anybody wouldn't recognize that motherfucker. And he goes, ha, it's me. And she goes, all right, here you go. He goes, all right, it's 1850. All right, here, you keep the change. Bye, doggy. And he walks away and she goes, you're my favorite customer. Just random. He goes, okay, bye. It's so bad. Love it if you give Dr. Giggles a try. It's a great 80s slasher. I might watch it eventually. Jason Williams, what's your favorite episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? That's a good question. I've always loved the one where the two kids are sent to the private school and nobody's allowed to have electronics. And basically the two people that run the school are like monsters and they have all the eggs in the basement. And the kids get like catatonically like risen at night to come and feed the eggs. I love that one. And the other one that always sticks in my mind is shit. Sorry guys. Is the one where the vampires move next door and the two kids keep trying to break in to prove that they're vampires, and by the end they're convinced that they're just they work at a blood bank, and then it turns out that the younger kid in the family is actually like the master. That's a good one. Nick P, did you like Resident Evil 7? I thought it was amazing and one of the best in the series. It was genuine horror that paid homage to many horror franchises. I loved Resident Evil 7. And I played the entire game in VR, which is the only way, if you could stomach it, to play that game. Scared the fuck out of me in numerous times. That game is so unnerving to play in VR because of the surround sound and the noise cancellation headphones. I thought that the boss battles sucked towards the end, and I didn't like how it ended, and it didn't have any ties whatsoever to the actual Resident Evil franchise, except for Chris Redfield randomly showing up at the end. That was my only kind of that, and yeah, the molded were kind of a generic villain to a degree, but there were minor complaints. Like I thought that the game was just a phenomenal experience. That's the game that I replayed the most this year. I think I beat it like 3 times. Eric Barley, do you like the Evil Dead series? I like it. I'm not the biggest Evil Dead fan. I love Army of Darkness. I love the remake. I love the Ash vs. Evil Dead show. Evil Dead is a little bit too old and low budget for me to love. I appreciate it. Evil Dead 2 is a little too goofy for me. But I still I appreciate it. I used to not like them at all. I own all of them, but yeah, I like the series. I'm not a fanatic. Blossom Powerpuff, what do you think of the Wishmaster series? Haven't seen any of them. I've seen pieces of all of them. They seem a little bit too cheesy to me. But I haven't seen them, so it's kind of an unfair criticism. Nick P, most disturbing movie you've ever seen? The movie that disturbed me physically the most, or where I was like almost sick, was Hostel. The movie that disturbed me to where like I couldn't get it out of my mind for a while. That's a good question. I don't even know if I can answer it. I think Pet Sematary is the most disturbing movie because it's gotten more disturbing as I've gotten older. Now that I have kids, and now that especially that I have an infant walking around, that movie, it disturbs the fuck out of me when I watch it. I love it. It's my favorite Stephen King adaptation. It's probably in my top 10 horror movies of all time. And it doesn't take any enjoyment away from the movie for me, but the movie really chills me down to my bone now because things are so much more real now than when I watched it as a kid, when it's all fantastical. Now that I have a 1-year-old walking around and you watch a movie where a 2-year-old kid gets plowed by a fucking semi and so many things that are just so it's so real to the point where it's disturbing because it's so there's so much potential reality in that story. So that's my best answer for that. Jake Grogan, have you seen any of the Leprechaun films? I actually own all of them. They're pretty schlocky, but I enjoy them for what they are. They're guilty pleasures. I haven't seen every single one of them. I've seen most of them. Justin Chipman, favorite snack and drink while watching movies? Popcorn. I really don't drink or eat in the movies hardly ever anymore. I usually go and just watch the movie for many reasons. I don't like having to get up and go to the bathroom during a movie, and I'm almost guaranteed if I get a soda that I'm going to piss at least once. So that and usually I don't know. I just like going to see the movie and focusing on it. I don't really go there to eat. But if it's like a date with Holly or we have the kids there, or if it's just one of those times where we're making a big event out of going to the movies, it's just simple. Just popcorn layered with butter. Use a little straw trick. If you don't know the straw trick, Google it. And even though I'm not really a soda drinker right now, I've kind of given up soda over the past like month, except for when I'm sick, I'll drink a little ginger ale. But Coke or Mr. Pibb. But that's another reason why I really don't buy snacks or drinks at the movies anymore. Is because I'm staying away from soda. Britt Rodriguez, favorite zombie movie? Probably the Dawn of the Dead remake. That or 28 Weeks Later. One of those two. Kyle Sanders, did you watch A Christmas Story this year? I did. I watched a lot of Christmas movies this year. I don't love A Christmas Story as much as everybody else, but it does have a certain amount of tradition to it. Dog vs. Chainsaw, are you ready for Black Panther? Yeah. I mean, I don't really get insanely excited over any Marvel movies anymore just because we get so many of them. When it gets close to the release, I do get very, like, oh man, it's 2 days I get to see Black Panther, but I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be good. Nick P. Horror remakes that are better than the original. Let me see. People hate this opinion, and it might change. I think the Friday the 13th remake's better. Let me see. Better than the Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing, greatest remake of all time. Dawn of the Dead. Can't think of any more. Debbie Does Dallas. There's that again. I've never heard of this damn movie. I'm going to have to research it now. I swear it sounds like a fucking porno. Movie cliche that you never want to see again, asks Tieran Cummings. There's a lot of horror cliches that I could care if I ever see again. I mean, I've got, like, the one that annoys me the most is, like, the evil lives on cliche, which is, like, the Friday the 13th ending where something jumps out at the end. Every single thing in the movie has shown that the killer is absolutely dead. There's no way he's alive. And the last little jump scare scene shows that he's alive. I'm sick of seeing that with no effort. I don't mind the evil lives on because that's how you have a franchise. That's how you have sequels. But put some fucking effort into it. Don't just make it, and he's alive because we need another one. Like one of the best horror endings ever is The Collection. Now, I'm not going to say what the ending is because so many people still have not seen that movie. But it's the sequel to The Collector. And the ending of that movie is a giant middle finger to horror cliches. It goes in a horror cliche direction. It does everything that I've described that I hate. And you're like, I was watching and I was like, oh, fuck, it's going to do that bullshit where the evil lives on, there's no explanation, and then it goes in a completely different direction. And that is what I'm talking about. If you're going to do an evil lives on, do something creative with it, or at least make it make sense. Don't just have it where there's absolutely no fucking way that that dude got out of there alive, and then do like some I Know What You Did Last Summer shit where he just jumps through the shower because. That's my least favorite horror cliche. Angel Cruise, I really want your opinion on Jeepers Creepers 3 because I watched it and it's a piece of shit. Well, I mean, you'll get my in-depth thoughts in the review, but I already kind of gave my quick thoughts on my top 5 worst of the year, and it is a piece of shit. It's a horrible fucking movie. It's a terrible sequel, and it kills any chances that we're going to get of Jeepers Creepers 4. Alright, scrolling down a little bit, guys. Logan Thomas, I just checked out The Devil's Candy from one of your videos and loved it. If more metal horror movies were made, would you be interested in seeing them? Yes. Glad you watched the movie. Glad you enjoyed it. Would I be interested in it? Yes, if it's done a certain way. I don't like the horror comedy metal movies. There's been a dime a dozen of those. I don't get into those. But a serious, dark movie like The Devil's Candy, yes, I will be interested in more of that. Ben Bill, favorite Saw film? Saw 2. Butchie Sexton, is there a horror movie from your childhood that scarred you? Not really. It and Pet Sematary are the only two that ever really got to me. But they didn't scar me. I watched them multiple times. John Marson, have you watched Wolf Creek? Yeah, I'm not a fan. Dog vs. Chainsaw, will you review the Godzilla franchise? No, I don't. The old franchise especially, I can't stand those old, like, Japanese claymation movies. As far as the new movies, I mean, I reviewed Kong Skull Island, if you consider that the Godzilla franchise. And I'm sure I'll review the new ones as they come out. Humongous, what happened to that Predator sequel remake? It was supposed to come out. It's just a sequel, it's not a remake. It's still coming out. Coming out 2018. We just haven't seen a trailer yet. But it's already made, it's shot. It's done. Gary Lee, help support Cody on patreon.com/Cody Leach. Dude is worth it. Absolutely. Gary Lee is worth it too. He also has a Patreon. I would say patreon.com/Gary Lee Show, but I'm not positive that's the link. So just Google Gary Lee. Or not Google. Go on Patreon and search Gary Lee. But yes, you should support me on Patreon because it's worth it. Sleazy Dog, Cody, have you seen Goodnight Mommy? If you haven't, avoid spoilers at all costs. Is that the one where the mother's face is like bandaged up and there's the 2 kids? Because that was spoiled for me already. Unfortunately. But I don't think I'd ever watch it. Coolio Robles, Hugh, The Predator releases in August next year. There you go. Dank Bloop, do you like My Chemical Romance? Nope. Angel Cruz, I love your Child's Play, Nightmare on Elm Street, Texas Chainsaw Massacre series. Thank you. Look forward to more, because I ain't stopping anytime soon. Kulafachi, what's your review on A Clockwork Orange? Don't hate me, but I've never seen it. One of those classics that I have not gotten a hold of yet. Kelly Marie Farrell, would you rank the Pumpkinhead series? I would rank it if I reviewed them. I love the first one. I've actually never seen any of the others. I don't imagine they're very good because I never hear anything about it. Holly Jones, I have 2.